Hi, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and good day to all viewers. If this is the first time you come to my channel, please help me to subscribe this channel and click on the like button, and I would appreciate it if you could watch this video till the end. Alright, I am going to share with you something about argumentative essay. Stay tuned. Argumentative essay is a genre of writing that requires the student to analyze the topic, find and evaluate evidence, and then pick a stand on the topic. How to write argumentative essay? First, we have to analyze the topic, explore different perspectives of the topic, and look for the clues and limitations. For example, the topic is standardized tests should be abolished in schools. So we look at the topic and we analyze, chunk it into two parts: standardized tests, abolished in schools. So we need to look at should be or should not be. So standardized tests should be abolished or should not be abolished in schools. So we weigh the pros and cons that bring us to the second step. The second step on how to write argumentative essay is we need to choose our stand. So first of all, we list down the pros and the cons, and then we pick a stand. We select the position which has the most point, to not focus on what we believe in, but focus on which has more points after we have listed down the pros and the cons. The third step is plan our essay. So you can use this graphic organizer, for example, to plan the content of your essay. So as usual, we have introduction, we have the body, should consist of around 3 to 4 paragraphs or even 5 to 7 paragraphs, and then the conclusion. And we have to plan our reasons and then have the evidence to support the reasons, and then last is to reaffirm, and then as also I have a column for counter arguments. Alright, we will go into detail. I chunk this graphic organizer into 3 chunks and we will go into details. First, let's look at this graphic organizer. So we need to be firm with our stand. Let's say we agree that standardized tests should be abolished in school. So the first reason is one size doesn't fit all. And then we give evidence. Students have different learning style and entry level. And then reason number 2, tests cause stress. And then we back it up with it brings pressure to students as well as parents, and test scores sometimes affect students' confidence level. And the third reason is learning only pass the test, learning only to pass the test. And it should not be happening because learning becomes boring and meaningless when it is meant only to pass tests. And number 4 is we start writing. So we draft the whole essay using mind map and graphic organizer. Then we start with a clear conclusion, begin with the end in mind. The fourth step is start writing. There are 2 approaches that you can use in writing this argumentative essay. Alright, the first style is when you have the introduction paragraph, as you normally do in the other types of essay, where you have your background information and the thesis statement plus the sentence hook. Alright, and then you move on to the body paragraphs where you have the supporting arguments plus evidence. Probably you want to take 3 paragraphs to support your stand. And then you have the last paragraph as the counter argument plus evidence. I will talk about this counter argument in detail in a while. Alright, and the last part will be the conclusion, where you would wrap up everything right from the beginning to the end to reaffirm your stand. Alright, the second style is whereby in the first paragraph you would write the counter argument first. So you have the overview of the counter argument and then counter argument plus the evidence. And then the following paragraphs in the body, what you would do is you would continue with the background information of the motion or understand the topic, and then you have your thesis statement plus the evidence. And then you continue with the rest of the supporting details, supporting arguments and evidences. Alright, and you wrap up the conclusion by reaffirming your stand. So you could choose either way, whether you want to use the normal approach or you want to give a dramatic effect to the reader by using the second approach, where you have the counter argument first, and this one you have the counter argument last before the conclusion. Alright, now let me explain about counter arguments. So whether you want to put the counter arguments in the first paragraph or in the last part of the body paragraph, it doesn't matter. But why is counter argument important for you to include in the argumentative essay is to tell the reader that, hey, I know that you might agree, you might think that a standardized test is crucial for the nation because it shows the overall performance. I mean, you could measure the overall performance of the whole nation, okay, of the students nationwide. But however, you need to highlight the weakness, why you disagree with standardized tests. So you could say that standardized tests only measure that part, okay, that academic part, that performance at that time, without looking at the entry level of each students, without looking at IQ level of the students, without knowing the progress, whether the students have progressed well. Okay, so you counter argument by saying that standardized tests only consider a single test performance upon evaluation and create a limited scope of learning and success. So you cannot measure an individual success by one standardized test. So you make your argument or your stand strong and firm. Okay, when writing your conclusion, so normally conclusion consists of the summary of your points and then a strong affirmation of your stand. So you emphasize, you rephrase your stand by concluding it in the concluding paragraph. So you wrap up the arguments in the concluding paragraph, and then you do not introduce new argument in the concluding paragraph. That's what students normally do. What they normally do is they introduce other points in the concluding paragraph, and that should not be the way. Concluding paragraph is to make sure that you understand what you write, to tell the reader that, hey, you have presented all the points from the beginning to the end. So here, I wrap it up for you to understand, to grasp. Okay? Not telling, besides all the points above in the conclusion, I think, and then you give another example. That's not the way. Alright? So, and then a conclusion does not simply restate the thesis, but readdress in light of the evidence provided. Meaning, you just emphasize, you reaffirm your stand given all the evidences that you have already written earlier, so you reaffirm it in the concluding paragraph. Here are the things to avoid when you are writing argumentative essay. What you need to avoid is do not convince reader about something which is false. And you have to be well read, you have to be well informed so that the reader would agree with your point of view and be on your side. Okay? And then don't just present the facts, you need to present your opinion. You need to present your opinion as well, because you need to move the reader to be on your side. Okay? And finally, don't introduce new argument in the conclusion. If you do that, the reader would know you are a confused writer. Okay? Because you need to wrap up and nail your points in the conclusion. Reaffirm your stand in the conclusion. Tips to remember when you are writing an argumentative essay. Number 1, start with an enticing hook. Number 2, thesis statement must be clear, concise, and defined. It normally occurs in the first paragraph of essay. Whether you want to use the first approach or the second approach, sentence hook must be in the first paragraph. Third, the body must include evidential support, which could be factual, based on facts, or logical. You could refer to an expert, quotes, or view. Statistical, okay, you can refer to reports, for example, or anecdotal. Anecdotal is probably based on true experience of people or yourself. And then lastly, use clear and logical transitions between the introduction, body, and conclusion, so that the flow of your writing will be very smooth. Alright, this is the end of our video today. So I hope you would be able to write good argumentative essay after watching this video. And please help me to share this video with your friends if you think that it would benefit them. And don't forget to help me to subscribe channel Cikgu Hana. So until I see you again in the next videos, bye for now.